Mabuhay! Now, Mitsubishi has always been a top automaker in the Philippines. In fact, they just play around between being top 3 or top 5. And there's one good reason why.
And that reason is this. This is a 2022 Mitsubishi Xpander GLS. For 2022, Mitsubishi decided to give the Xpander a couple of updates both inside and out.
Now it's time to find out what those updates are.
So we're going to go ahead and look at what Mitsubishi decided to update for the 2022 Xpander, and we're going to start with the front end. Now, first of all, Mitsubishi decided to retain what they call the dynamic shield design. We can see it right here, front and center of the car. They made use of, well, what looks like a piano black finish here on the upper grille, and they decided to add a little bit of sportiness by adding a honeycomb grille on the lower portion. Now, aside from that, the 2022 Xpander comes equipped with LED DRLs, a new T-shaped headlight design that are now sporting LED bulbs for both low and high beam, which is pretty good. And it also comes with halogen fog lamps. Moving over to the side of the Xpander, the first thing you will notice, particularly from this angle, is the flattened out front fender. From this angle, it gives the vehicle a bit of a boxy look, but overall I think it works. We'll get to why I think so in a bit. You'll also see a lot of shiny bits and bobs on the side. First of all, there is a massive chrome side mirror cap right there. You also have your chromed out window trims, and the door handles are also finished in shiny chrome. Now, just going back to the fender, the thing that evens it out, I think, would be these two. You have the accent line and the character line. These give a bit more life to what I would describe probably as a bit of a drab, boxy look if you were just to focus on the bumper. Overall, the package became a cohesive design with these two lines. Now, another thing that Mitsubishi decided to retain is the floating roof design of the Xpander. Lastly, we have a new set of alloy wheels. We have 17-inch two-tone 5-spoke wheels that are wrapped in 205/50 series tires. Moving over to the rear, we'll see that not much has changed with the 2022 Xpander except for a few key pieces. First of all, the T-shaped light design continues to the taillight assemblies. This time around, they decided to update the reflector pieces inside. That makes it look a lot sleeker and a lot more elegant. The rear bumper has likewise been given a redesign this time around. Both sides have rear reflectors. For the 2022 model, the Xpander also retains its quite chunky wing. Same thing as before though, the third brake lamp is found dead center of the wing. So that's about it for the exterior of the 2022 Mitsubishi Xpander. This time let's go ahead and join Pablo and see what he thinks about how the Xpander rides and drives.
So now we're inside the Mitsubishi Xpander and we're gonna talk about what it feels like to drive and what it feels like as a passenger, because it is a 7-seater MPV. But let's start with the engine. It has a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated gasoline engine with MyVet. But the biggest thing I'd like to talk about is that it's still not a CVT, unfortunately. Yes, the CVT is available in the Indonesian market, but the Philippines doesn't get it. While on paper it sounds like a bad thing, I thought the same. It's really not such a big deal because even in the previous version of the Xpander, it was tuned really well. It's really smooth. You don't feel like it's an old antiquated technology. But if you put the CVT, it might help in fuel consumption. Especially in a car like this, when you load it with passengers and luggage, it might have an easier time sipping fuel if you put the CVT. But nonetheless, I really can't complain because it's, again, not so bad. I also want to point out that I've driven the Velos before and we already reviewed that, and the Xpander feels so much better to ride. Ride, not drive, ride. Because for some reason, even if it's taller, this has the tallest ground clearance in its class. It has 225 millimeters of ground clearance. It doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. Over any road surface, it's not bad. Although there are times where it does get a little bouncy and sometimes jarring I think it's really that much better than the Veloz. Although, I have to say that this also has better steering. It's super duper light. In the city, you have no problem maneuvering it at all through traffic or parking and all of that. So that's my take as the driver. I think now it's time to go over to the second row where Miko is. So Mix, as a passenger, what does it feel like?
Okay, as a passenger, the first thing that you would notice is the ride quality. Normally, MPVs would be medyo matagtag.
Yes.
They would lean
Yes.
more towards the stiffer side ng suspension, di ba? But in the second row of the Xpander, it's pretty comfortable. You can feel the road. You can feel the undulations on the road. Sure. We're also of the impression that the tires are just a little bit overinflated. Yeah, exactly. Overinflated a bit. But still, if you're on the road, sans any bumps or potholes, it's a pretty smooth ride.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting when I got here in the second row,
That you feel it more.
Yeah,
because
medyo
you're not
jarring
driving.
siya, eh, di ba?
Yeah.
But no. After all, MPVs are made for
Load.
loading talaga.
More-
It's for a lot more people, it's for a lot more cargo.
So it goes without saying that if we put more people and cargo, it will be more comfortable.
It will even out.
Yeah,
it will even out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not gonna be wallowy.
Yeah.
It may become just a little more bouncy, but I don't think it's going to be that detrimental. Even if you add a lot of people or a lot of things in the back. That's okay. So that's far as ride
Right,
quality
yeah.
goes. Now, in the second row naman, let's go to space. Pablo is a lot taller than I am. Then obviously this is his driving position, right? You'll notice that the knee room, the leg room is really good in the Xpander, right? You'll notice that, yeah, it's a 7-seater, 2 in front, 3 in the middle, and 2 in the back. With this space, though, to be honest, I'm not so sure how comfortable it will be if you have a full-size adult in the middle seat of the second row.
Oh, the middle seat.
Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze, I think.
It looks like it will be a bit of a squeeze.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But that's as far as the seats and the shoulder room go. However, if Filipinos aren't that big din naman.
Yeah, that's
Diba?
true.
So,
that's true.
if you have-
Exception tayong dalawa.
Oh, eh.
Yeah.
If you have your smaller friend sit here in the middle row or in the middle seat of the second row, that's gonna work just fine. Shoulder room is pretty okay. Again, I'm wide, so if you have a slender man of a friend here, hi Pubs. Yeah, if you have a slender man of a friend here in the middle seat, that's gonna be fine. Again, shoulder room is good. Headroom, no question at all. One observation we had earlier, Pablo was here in the second row, and one of the things that he noticed was the seats. The
Yeah.
seats themselves are not positioned too high. So
yeah.
getting in and getting out of the second row is pretty easy.
Also, because the seat backrests in the second row aren't high, so if the third row is folded and you have stuff in the back, it's
Right.
not hard to reach over.
Right.
You won't strain or anything. I think it's a plus.
Right.
I didn't notice until I tried to get something in the back that it's a plus. It's a plus. Yeah.
If Yaya needs to get
Yeah.
something from the back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
You get
true.
baby's bottle or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's also a family car din naman. It's
Yeah,
an MPV for
exactly.
crying out loud. So
Exactly.
that's good. Other observations, headroom, shoulder room, leg room, knee room. It's pretty fantastic in the Xpander. You cannot fault the Xpander for that, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're pretty happy there.
Yeah.
You're happy.
Yeah, I am.
You have no problems being there in
No,
the back.
none at all.
Okay.
None at all.
Good. Well, okay. Then to sum it all up, I guess, well, the Xpander, ever since it was introduced before, it was an instant bestseller.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason why. And I mean, we've both driven the previous one, and I think it's your first time to get in the new one,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So it's good that Mitsubishi didn't really do anything to change what made it good before in terms of driving and as a passenger. So if you want an easy to drive MPV that has no complications about it whatsoever in terms of driving or riding, then the new one is just as good, and I think even better for some reason. Even though there's nothing mechanically different about it, it feels more solid to me as a driver compared to the one it replaces. So yeah, overall, driving and riding the Mitsubishi Xpander, good car. So now let's talk about what you get in terms of features and materials inside the interior of the Mitsubishi Xpander. Again, because this is an update, of course they had to change some things around. So let's first talk about the materials. You get this nice soft touch material here in the dashboard, which is actually nice dark brown leather, just to break the monotony of the black. There's even this faux chrome or aluminum strip here in the middle that kind of breaks, again, the monotony. I'm not really a fan of it because, again, it's not real, but visually it does the job well. In front of me, you have a small multi-informational display screen that has your fuel economy, your fuel gauge, your temperature gauge, which is then flanked by the analog gauges for the rev counter and the speedometer. The steering wheel has to be one of the bigger, obvious updates to the interior. It's different compared to the one before, and I like that it's now chunkier, so it has a better feel for it, especially when you're driving. It's wrapped in this nice, durable, but also supple leather. On the left side of the steering wheel are the controls for the audio, and here on the right side are the controls for the cruise control. Yes, it actually comes with cruise control now, so good job. The screen here, the infotainment screen, is a 7-inch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is, of course, a plus. I think anybody who's looking to buy a brand new car nowadays walks into the dealership, and one of the first things they ask is, does it have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto? So the Xpander has it, no worries. The next big update has to be the digital climate control system. Take note, I said digital because it's not automatic. You still have to manually turn it on. However, besides the fact that it's not automatic per se, it's kind of hard to understand. It's not that legible, the screen here. The design is not easy to understand, but obviously once you get used to it, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Your gear lever is here, you have your e-brake and your auto hold here. Also, you have your USB port, 12-volt socket, and you have these nice cubby holes here, here, and a nice little space for where you can put your RFID cards. You also have 2 cup holders and, of course, a big center console cubby hole. In the second row, not much to really say except that you have charging ports there, and the most notable thing about the charging ports is that there are 2 versions. You have the standard USB type, and there's also a USB-C type, so you're spoiled for choice. So overall, the interior updated, but Mitsubishi didn't do anything to really change the way it would feel, and so it feels familiar, easy to get used to, and overall, not bad. The 2022 Mitsubishi Xpander GLS retails for
a good 1.180 million pesos. If you opt to get the quartz white pearl color, that's another 15,000 on top of that.
So it's not necessarily the most affordable, but at the same time, it's also not too expensive. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, at that particular price point, I think that it's a pretty good compromise between form, function, and basically everything that anyone in the market for a 7-seater MPV.
So overall
might
practicality.
Want. Yes, it's pretty practical if you ask me.
No, I agree.
Okay, Pablo agrees. So
if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel below, and also don't forget to follow us on Facebook Instagram, and Twitter. This has been Pablo Salapantan of YugaAuto.
This has been Miko Wangko of YugaAuto.
Thank you for watching. Paalam!